I was living in a small town in Northern California called Arcata, going to Humboldt State University. I can just say that I was extremely depressed at that time in my life. I was 20. I didn't know who I was. I didn't like who I was. I woke up every morning feeling really alone, feeling really depressed. And it wasn't just a psychological depression, it was a whole body depression that would come and go in these incredible waves. I felt like it was so bad that I didn't want to be here on the planet anymore. And I didn't really know much about suicide or if that was even an option. Basically, when I thought about suicide, I didn't want to have to hurt myself. I wanted to be just taken and without any pain, without any repercussions. I felt like I just wanted to go. So at the time, and for a long time before that, even as a kid, I felt like I had a connection with the divine, with God. And I would ask God, I don't know, I would say probably fairly regularly, if I could just go home, if I could just go back to you. At this stage in my life, it was the second year of college, and going through this depression, feeling like I didn't belong on the planet, feeling like I couldn't control this depression, not knowing how to ask for help in any way. I called out to the universe, to God, to that higher power, and just said, I don't want to be here anymore. Please take me. If I cannot be happy, I just want to go. I think it was about 4 days later, roughly 4 days later, I was mountain biking in the redwood forest. There's a redwood forest behind the school where I was attending. And I had probably went into that forest on the bike trails twice or three times a week. It was my sanctuary. The forest has always been a place that I felt most at peace and at most at home. And that particular day really was no different. I went on my bike pass. I decided, to take the normal pass that I always had. And I never wore a helmet. I didn't think it was cool or that I needed it because I wasn't doing anything extreme. And again, this day was no different. I didn't have a helmet. I was just gonna go into the trails and enjoy myself as much as I could. So when I was heading home, I usually would take these, they would be moderate sized, smaller jumps that went downhill. And so I took this jump, and I had noticed as soon as I hit the jump that someone had built it up within days, because maybe 2 days prior I took the same jump, but someone had built it up, so it was almost vertical. And I knew as soon as I hit that jump that I was gone. My front tire hit the earth, then it was the handlebars. I came down on my head and my neck, and then my back was the last to hit the ground, and I was out. The next thing I remember, I was floating at the tops of the redwood trees. The redwoods have like these crowns, these big green crowns, and even science says that they have their own ecosystem, and they're incredible. And I was around all of these trees, kind of at the tops, and I didn't really have a physical form. I couldn't explain it. I was condensed in this space, my awareness, but I also felt very expanded at the same time. And I remember looking at I could see the detail on the trees, like the needles of the redwood trees and the sun coming and hitting them and sparkling. I could sense an amazing peace that was, and it's hard to explain. It was just like this silent place. I also remember from this space looking down and seeing my body on the ground, dead. just laying there. And I thought, oh wow, okay, so I'm separate from this part of myself. And there was just, besides this peace, there was this feeling of that I could feel and sense everything. The beach was like 5 to 10 miles away. I could hear the waves. I could feel the breeze moving through this part of me. I could hear sounds like birds calling out miles away. And I just felt instantly connected to everything. I remember looking down at my body again, and the question kind of came up. Do you want to go further, or do you want to go back? And my instant response was, I don't want to die. And as soon as I said the word die, I was back in my body. I actually said die. That woke me up. I was back in my body, and as I was experiencing incredibly intense pain. I could feel this electrical pain, the stabbing pain. I was having trouble breathing. I had a rapid heart rate. I was trying to take breaths as much as I could. My vision was incredibly blurry, but at the same time, as I was going through this pain, it was simultaneously, I could see fairies coming down from the trees, kind of dive bombing me and going up and laughing and giggling. I could hear this ringing in not just in my ears, but I could feel it in my whole body. It was like, the best way I could explain it would be like a Tibetan singing bowl. And these were actually the cedar trees, the redwood trees, vibrating, and what I believe were supporting and healing me at this time. So I had made the decision not to go any further. I was back in my body, and after some period of time, I lost consciousness again, and I was out. My next memory after I lost consciousness, laying there on the dirt, was being in the hospital, and a doctor leaning over me, saying, "You're very lucky, you're very lucky, you're very lucky." I think he might have been repeating that just so I could wake up. And then I heard him say, "You didn't break any bones, and you're alive, you're very lucky." And he was asking me going through the protocol, what's your name, where are you living, what day is it? I didn't know any of this except for a number from a family friend who lived in town, and I blurted that out. So I went to their house, my family friends, and I was there for about a week, laying on their couch in pain, taking pain medication, before my mom came down and picked me up. If I would take like one lesson away, or what was my lesson that I could share to people, well, there wouldn't be one. First of all, life is incredibly vulnerable. It is a gift, and if you have that feeling of you don't want to be here on this planet, I would definitely seek, professional help. There are people out there that are very gifted in being able to help people with thoughts, of hurting themselves or not wanting to be here. And there's always a gift in everything that comes into our lives, no matter how hard it is, or no matter how wonderful it is. But for me personally, I would say that it wasn't about me going back home and being with the divine. It was about me learning how to connect with divinity while here on earth, to be able to heal my body and bring in enough light into my body where I can have an ongoing connection with God, with the divine, with Source. So yeah, that would be, and which we can all do, by the way. So yeah, that's my story. If you have any questions, please contact me. And if you have had a near-death experience before, you can leave it in the comments below. Thank you.